Good day, everyone. I'm Major Searls here with First Civil Affairs Group. We're on the Human Dimension podcast, and we've got Marines here, Major Antonov, Captain Johnson, Staff Sergeant Camos, and we're going to talk about their experience at Bright Star. How you Marines doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Great, sir. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show and for your time. Major Antonov, why don't you share a little bit about your experience there at Bright Star?
Yeah, absolutely. So Bright Star was large multinational exercise in Egypt, largely based in a military base near the port of Alexandria. And our experience there was working with MARCENT as well as with Task Force 51-5, which is 5th MEB, out there as the command element, overseeing a command post exercise. In addition to that, we also did white space training involving civil reconnaissance, kind of a crawl, walk, run approach, involving kind of our local area as well as Cairo and the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, and as well as the city of Alexandria.
That's fantastic. And you have the opportunity to be in, one of the most classic ancient cultures there with the Egyptians. Are you able to share about some of the operation you did? Maybe if you did a civil reconnaissance or any type of civil affairs style of training?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, the exercise was focused on a command post exercise in which the team played a diverse set of roles. My role was largely what you would classify as like the influence officer. I brought together civil affairs as well as PSYOPs, information operations, and Comstrat kind of collaborating together in order to build those non-lethal fires for the commanding general, and as well as working in a operational planning team for a humanitarian assistance operations as well as a NEO. Then beyond that, we had Captain Johnson and Sergeant Oliver very focused in the command post execution, kind of responding to injects with a team of civil affairs Army civil affairs officers, as well as teams of foreign national military civil affairs experts as well. Then we had Staff Sergeant Camos in the higher command, kind of doing the injects, working with USAID and the Red Crescent, sending injects within the scenario. So he can talk more to that detail. So that was really the core of the actual exercise. Beyond that, we did white space training, which involved 3 iterations of civil reconnaissance missions. First one was being really looking at our hotel. We stayed at a lodging at a large hotel facility. So we looked at that for how we could use that for potential internally displaced persons camp for the infrastructure, as well as we looked at a local market and what facilities are offered there to support that kind of mission. Then for the second walk piece, we were fortunate enough to do a cultural day in the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, as well as Cairo. And as part of that, we also did a concurrent civil reconnaissance of those monuments, as well as the road network between where we're staying near Alexandria and Cairo. And finally, for the run portion of our white space training, we really did with the with Marine Corps Advisory Company Bravo, with their team, we were able to get a van and go there as a team to Alexandria, where we selected different sites, including monuments and religious site, a mosque and a Coptic church, as well as the local train station as a logistical hub. And we have the team basically plot on a map and go through from point to point through the streets to these sites and doing assessments there. We were fortunate enough to have a Egyptian American staff sergeant with us as well, and he served as an interpreter to help us interview local Egyptians and learn more about the atmospherics of the area. Those were kind of the core things that we accomplished as a team at a Bright Star.
Sounds like a great experience on all levels, and especially with the tactical style training for our civil affairs group. That's like spot on. So thank you, Major Antonov, for sharing those thoughts there. Captain Johnson, should be able to jump in and share some of your experience and what you really enjoyed.
Yes, sir. So I just kind of want to start off real quick. Something that Major Antonov, a question he posed to us while we were out there is, why? The why. Why are we there? First Civil Affairs Group, our focus tends, is Indo-PACOM with Balkatan coming up, Philippines, what's going on with the Chinese sphere of influence. But now more than ever, our experiences there are relevant and important for going forward if we are to dip our toes back into CENTCOM, more significantly than we have in the past few years. So Major Antonov, he talked a lot about the civil reconnaissance missions, the white space training, which we executed out in Alexandria at the run portion, and that was very eye-opening and important, significant for the culmination of our training throughout the time in Egypt. And we were utilizing our MARSIMS devices, doing these assessments of the civil infrastructure in a real world city. Millions of people live there. Sometimes it was a little chaotic, but the team executed that very well. Staff Sergeant Camos, Sergeant Oliver, myself, and Major Antonov, along with the McCAG-B Marines that Major Antonov was speaking about earlier. As for the exercise itself, Major Antonov touched on this, but my experience was in the CPX execution portion of the exercise. So myself and Sergeant Oliver were tasked with responding to the injects along with our foreign counterparts, our Egyptian and Qatari and Saudi counterparts, along with Army Civil Affairs team that was attached to us as well. So the staff integration portion of the CPX I thought was very good for us in learning how to execute civil affairs operations in a diverse and environment with different viewpoints on how to do things. I mean, just alone, speaking with these Army Civil Affairs officers, it's a lot of the stuff we do overlaps and it's a lot of the same, but there's terminology that's different. They do things a little different than us when executing certain missions. They tend to be a little more analog, so it was pretty cool to get to kind of train them up on how we use MARSIMS to execute our missions a lot of the times, and they were very interested in that and trying to bring that back to their unit. So it was a very good experience. I thought we responded to the injects very well and worked well as a team amongst other sections as well. So we were giving civil affairs capability briefs to the intel section, the PSYOP, J39, things like that, and they asked for these briefs because they saw how we were doing during the exercise. So it was pretty cool. Sergeant Oliver did a great job, giving some MARSIMS training. She briefed the CG at 2 Cubs, and as a sergeant going in briefing a 1-star, never having done that before, I thought she did a fantastic job. And then Staff Sergeant Campos was up in HICON, pushing out these injects along with the interagency partners like from USAID and ICRC, and the interagency cooperation that occurred at this exercise I thought was fantastic. It really brought us some new insight on how they operate, how they do things, and they were more than willing and very excited to work with us as well. So that's I thought it was a great experience, and can help us moving forward in that region. If Bright Star ever, if we participate in that exercise again, I think there's some good groundwork for the next team that goes in.
That's fantastic. That's great. You're planning ahead too, and making sure there's some runway or some structure for the next unit, the next CAG detachment to come into play. So thank you, Captain Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Staff Sergeant Campos, you're back.
Yes, sir. Good morning,
Okay.
gentlemen.
Good morning, Staff Sergeant. Great you made it on the show here. We'd love to hear your thoughts about your Bright Star experience. What do you have to say?
Bright Star 23 was a great experience. I was able to be a part of a great team with Major Antonov, Captain Johnson, and Sergeant Oliver. I was able to work up in the High Command, and when I first got placed there, I didn't know what to expect. First time kind of doing the whole injects, had to read through the whole script, cipher off like what actually works for civil affairs. I was able to work with USAID pretty closely, Melinda Hutchins, and she kind of guided me. I guess it's not her first experience doing an exercise this big. So she was able to guide me. I was able to just jump in there, read through the script. She kind of informed me it's like, all right, our main focus is to just kind of work with the humanitarian portion. So pulled out some humanitarian stuff. They already had some thing going on as far as like what kind of injects we're gonna be going down to the team as far as Captain Johnson, Sergeant Oliver. And from there, I kind of, with her guidance as well, kind of just made it seem easy for me to just complete all the injects. I believe there were 6 injects that were completed, and they went down to Captain Johnson and Sergeant Oliver and the rest of the Army CA folks who kind of work with their exercise. As far as the scenario, or not the scenarios, but outside of real world missions, Major Antonov gave the team the opportunity to go do some assessments. I know it was brought up already earlier by both Major Antonov and Captain Johnson. So not only to kind of go out in Egypt and assess whether it's a hotel that we were staying, the market down the street, or other structures and buildings out in Alexandria, Egypt. So that was always a good experience. You get to see how other countries live and kind of do their daily activities. That's pretty much what I have to say on that, sir.
That's great. No, we do appreciate your insights, especially coming from the enlisted perspective. So unless you gentlemen have any saved rounds or anything else you want to add, we're going to go ahead and wrap this session of Human Dimension and, keep pressing forward there at the CAG and have a great week.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, Major Searls.
Sure.
One, echo what everybody said about what an outstanding team we had out there, and that made it all possible and happen. But beyond that, I think as civil affairs, it's very easy for us to just be in the corner and not engage. For the MACDAF, we can be very easily this peripheral thing that could not be used, if we just don't engage. But if we're active and we engage with the staff and show our value, then we can be front and center in operations. And I think as a team, we really proved that at Bright Star, where we led in the planning, we led a lot in the execution. And I think when it came to the initiative of just executing on white space training, we maximize the opportunities to get our training in, as well as make a difference for the larger MACDAF. So that was, I think, a great takeaway from that experience.
Excellent. Appreciate that remaining and important thought from you. And, I want to go to Bright Star myself. So I look forward to the opportunity and, being able to compare experiences from you gentlemen and from a future team. Thank you again for your time, and you have a great week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You're welcome, gents. Goodbye.